Hello, my name is Thad Coons with Mallory Marine Products. We're going to winterize this boat today with an array of Mallory Marine products that you see on the back of the boat.
The first step in our winterization process is to stabilize the fuel for long storage. I'm treating our fuel today with our 3-in-1 fuel treatment. It not only helps preserve the fuel for up to 12 months, but also prevents fuel system deposits and helps to prevent corrosion. We're using a ½ ounce to every gallon of fuel. All you do is open up the fuel system on the boat, and pour it in. The next step is to run the boat and bring the engine up to operating temperature to circulate the fuel that we just treated, and also to bring the oil up to a warm temperature so it'll flow easy. As a safety precaution, before we run the engine, what we're going to do is we're going to remove the propeller. It's not only a good thing to do on a yearly basis, but it's also, like I said before, a safety precaution when you're running it. What we'll do when we're done, we'll clean the prop shaft, grease it up, put the propeller back on, make sure the lock nut's all locked tight. First, we got to stabilize the propeller. The block of wood works really good under the cavitation plate. We take our wrench, loosen up the nut, most cases give it a little bit of tap, she'll come right off. As you can see with this one, it's been a while since it's been off, so it's a good thing we're taking it off. It's got a lot of corrosion. Okay, now that we're done running the engine and warming it up so we can drain the oil, that's what we're going to do. One advantage to having a newer style boat with this engine package is the manufacturers put an oil drain tube on the bottom of the oil pan, so it makes it much more convenient to drain the oil. The boat manufacturers tethered it to the hull plug to drain it, so when you take the hull plug out, you can actually pull the hose out. Much more convenient than sucking it out through the dipstick tube on the engine itself. All we do is just loosen up the plug, 2 wrenches. Once it's loose, you should be able to just open it up by hand and sit back and let it drain. Now that we've drained all the oil from the engine, we just need to button it up, tighten up the drain plug, and re-secure it. Once again, the boat manufacturer makes it real easy to just feed the tether back in through and put your drain plug back in place. Okay, now that we've drained the oil from the pan through the drain plug hole in the boat, what we're going to do now is change the oil filter. This particular model does not have a remote oil filter on it. It's in a conventional position on the engine, so we have to get a wrench down there. We're using a cap style, and take it off. You loosen it up as best you can get it. Okay, and once we get it loose enough by hand, we'll slowly spin it off, making try not to spill as little oil as possible. I have one of our Mallory Marine diapers, oil diapers, underneath it that's catching all the residual oil. And I pushed one in my lap here to be able to capture the any residual oil. Hand it off to my friend Jimmy here. Now we're going to replace it with a Mallory Marine filter specific for this engine. Take the filter out of the box. We'll take some fresh Mallory Marine engine oil, and we just want to coat the threads, or the actual seal and the threads. maybe pour a little bit in since it's this type of configuration, so it'll have a good prime. Fill up. Screw the new filter in place. Keeping in mind you do not want to over tighten the filter. Now that we've drained all the oil, it's ready to top it off and put fresh oil in the engine. First off, we're going to take the cap off of the oil fill, and this one it's fairly easy and straightforward. And Jimmy's going to insert a funnel. And we're going to use a manufacturer's recommended 25W40 four-stroke engine oil, Mallory Marine, of course. Just a little hint: I like to remove the foil off the cap so that none of it will get trapped down into the engine. Let Jimmy pour it in there. Now that we've filled the crankcase with oil, we're ready to run the engine and fog it for the winter storage. I'm using Mallory Marine's fogging oil, aerosol can, very easy to use. We're going to start it up, remove the spark arrestor, and spray it down the throat of the carburetor with the engine RPM elevated slightly. Now that we're done fogging the engine and the engine's ready to be put up for the winter, the last thing we're going to do is to change the fuel filter, so we'll have a fresh fuel filter on board for crank up in the spring. Well, we're now ready to drain the block and the manifolds from all cooling water. Please check your owner's manual. There are different configurations on how to where your drains are. It's very important that you open all of them. Now that we've drained the block and the manifolds, we're going to fill the block and manifolds with antifreeze. It does a couple of things. Any residual water that's left in it will treat it so it will not freeze over the winter, and also it helps prevent any corrosion build up in the water jackets over the winter. Now we're about to remove the drive. The first step is to remove the trim rims off of the outdrive, and this will allow us to be able to pull the drive off. This particular drive uses clips to retain the rams. Other models will have, some of the older models will have nuts and washers. The procedure is just the same. This one you'll just have to use a screwdriver rather than a wrench. Okay, now we're going to remove the drive. We've already removed some of the nuts that retain it. There's 6 of them. What you want to do prior to this is there's a speedometer pickup tube that needs to be disconnected on this particular model. We've done that. Also, you need to put the drive in forward gear. This will align it so the drive will be able to slide off from the drive shift coupling. Now that we've removed the drive, we're going to check the engine alignment. Jimmy's going to use our Mallory Marine engine alignment tool, which he's going to insert through the outside bell housing and bellows into the gimbal bearing and all the way into the engine coupler. You should be able to turn this freely basically with 2 fingers. If you can do that, you're in pretty good shape as far as alignment is concerned. I also like to turn the engine over and check it in a couple of different locations, but this one's looking pretty good. Now that we're ready to reinstall the drive, we've actually installed new O-rings on the shaft. We put the Mallory Marine gasket and O-ring for the water jacket. We've used Mallory Marine bearing grease to grease up the slide. Make sure that your slide shift is in place and that everything is lined up straight. Also on the drive itself, make sure your shift mechanism is in the forward position. We've used our high pressure drive shaft grease on the splines. Make sure that you liberally coat the splines and the O-rings with it. We do recommend this basically once a year. Most of the newer style drive units have a engine coupler that is greasable from inside the boat, but a lot of times it's impossible to get to it. So this is the surefire way to make sure that your drive is in good shape, inspecting it annually. Okay, Jimmy, let's put it back in here. You line it up with the gimbal bearing. Once she's in place, you basically lift her up and get it lined up, making sure that everything stays in a line. It helps to have the prop in place to be able to spin the shaft a little bit. Okay, now that we've got the drive back in position, the last thing we're going to do is to drain and refill the lower unit oil. Jimmy's going to remove the bottom plug first, which is a drain plug. Then he'll remove the top plug to vent it and allow it to drain out. Okay, now that we've drained the drive, we're going to refill it with Mallory Marine's synthetic blend gear lubricant. It should take approximately 1 quart to fill this unit. Now that we're almost complete, we'll fill it from the bottom up with our Mallory Marine pump, and when it starts to come out the vent hole, we'll insert the plug and then remove the pump from the bottom and reinsert the drain plug. Now that we've finished filling the drive up, the last thing to do is to top off the gear lube monitor bottle, which is located on the on this particular engine on the port side. Okay, now that we're done, the boat's ready to be basically stored for the winter. The outdrive has been serviced, the engine's been serviced, the fuel system's been serviced. We do recommend that the battery be removed and stored inside, or if it's got a good charge on it, it can be disconnected and left in the boat. Just a good idea to leave it inside.